Have you ever thought about what happens when a narcissist realizes that the new source can't take your place? Get ready, because the truth isn't as simple as you think it is, and it's often worse than you think. When a narcissist gets rid of someone, they may be sure that they can easily move on to a new source of supply, because they think they will never miss their old target. The question is, what happens when the new person isn't as good as the old one? A narcissist's carefully created fantasy often doesn't match up with the real world. The truth about what goes on behind the scenes might shock you, and it will completely change how you think about how they act. Today's video will go into great detail about the interesting psychological phenomenon of narcissists, understanding that the new person they're interested in can't compare to the person they dumped. Stay with me until the end, and we'll talk about what happens to the narcissist when they start to see the difference, as well as what this means for you as the person who was thrown out. Please click the subscribe button, like this video, and share it with anyone you think might need this tip. Let's jump right in and look into this scary truth. When a narcissist changes into a new person, they feel excited at first because they think they've met someone better than you. They are sure that this new person will finally give them everything they were missing, so it's like they are starting a new story. With this new supply, the narcissist starts a new circle of validation, manipulation, and control. They are eager to show how dominant they are and reinforce their sense of being better than others. At first glance, it might look like the narcissist has found the right partner, something shiny and new to love and enjoy. Of course, this is typical of narcissists. They are always looking for praise and approval from new people to feed their huge ego. They get a lot of energy from the excitement of a new conquest, and they see it as a chance to take control again and show that they are strong and attractive. This fantasy of the perfect new supply, on the other hand, is only temporary, and it happens again and again. There is something very appealing about new things for narcissists. A lot of the time, they fool themselves into thinking that the new person will fill in for the person who left. For the narcissist, this new person is seen as someone who can give them the love, approval, and admiration they so badly need. But this fantasy will eventually fall apart, just like all the others. Cracks in the new supply's behavior start to show as time goes on. It's possible for the narcissist to notice that the new person isn't giving them as much praise or respect as their old target did. At first, the narcissist might not pay attention to these realizations because they are still holding on to the idea that this new person is the answer to their mental needs. But it doesn't take long for truth to set in. The new supply can't really replace you, the person they threw away so easily. It's clearer at these times that the narcissist can't connect with others on a deep, emotional level. They depend on shallow interactions to keep their egos up, preferring fake compliments and admiration to real emotional ties. The narcissist may get compliments from the new source at first, but over time, they realize that this new person doesn't satisfy their emotional needs in the same way. The new person might not follow the narcissist's rules as easily, or might ask questions that make them think about what they think is true. Even worse, the new supply may begin to see through the narcissist's mask and begin to question their actions or intentions. When this happens, the narcissist has to face a painful truth. They can't make things the same way they were with you. The new person can't give them the same amount of power, approval, or mental depth that they were used to getting from the old person. This understanding is one of the most upsetting things for the narcissist, because it shows that they can't make you feel the same way they did. In many cases, when the narcissist finally realizes that the new supply doesn't compare to the old one, they become angry and confused. The narcissist starts to notice the things about you that they used to take for granted about their last target. Things that made you special and impossible to replace. The new supply lacks these traits: loyalty, emotional intelligence, the ability to see through their tricks, and a deep knowledge of them. When you think about how deeply connected and emotionally deep the new person was with you, their flaws, which didn't seem important at first, become obvious. As the narcissist realizes that the new supply is not the perfect alternative they thought it was, their inner world starts to change. Realizing this makes the narcissist feel a lot of different feelings, including frustration, anger, resentment, and confusion. They might get angry at the new person and try to change them into the person they wish they were. They might put more pressure on the new supply in the hopes of making it more like their last goal. The narcissist might start to compare the new person to you, which means the new person will lose every time. At the same time, they will put on a show of happiness and joy to keep up the appearance that everything is fine. The narcissist really feels very empty because they know that their new source of love and approval doesn't meet their emotional needs like you did. As the narcissist comes to terms with this, they may grow more and more annoyed with the new person. They might be afraid of their flaws, or think that the new supply's flaws are easier to see now that they had a deep emotional connection with you. The narcissist may get angry at the new person for not being able to meet their wants, and this anger may grow over time. The narcissist may start to question why they dumped you in the first place as their anger grows. They know they can't make the link, control, or emotional validation they had with you with the new person, no matter how hard they try to manipulate and control them. Even worse, the narcissist might start to reach out to you again, saying things like checking in, catching up, or just wanting to get back in touch. When they try to get back together, it's usually because they know that their new source doesn't give them the same emotional depth, loyalty, or support that you did. The narcissist is now facing the truth. Their old supply was unbreakable, not because the new supply is worse in every way, but because of the special relationship and dynamic they had with you before. The narcissist may try to get back in charge of you by manipulating you to feel like they have power over you again. They might try to get you to fall in love with them again, so they can get back the emotional power they used to have. Be careful though. The narcissist rarely tries to help others out of true regret or a desire to heal emotionally. It's more likely a way for them to get back in charge, show power, and start manipulating them again like they did before. The narcissist may try to regain emotional control over you if they have tried everything to control their new supply and failed, or if they have learned that the new person is harder to control. It's important to know that this attempt to reconnect is usually just for the narcissist's own benefit, and not because they've grown as a person or are looking for real peace. Be aware of their intentions, and be careful what you do, because the narcissist's need for control will probably continue to drive their actions, even if they try to hide it by acting worried or sorry. People who are narcissists often go through a lot of emotional and mental turmoil when they realize that the new supply cannot substitute them. This can be a very painful realization for them. This understanding often leads to what is called a narcissistic injury, a moment of extreme weakness and emotional pain in which the narcissist feels hurt because they can't find someone else who can match the emotional and psychological control you had over them. This is a big blow to the narcissist's carefully crafted sense of self-worth, which is based on feeling powerful, in charge, and sure that they can easily get rid of people who don't meet their needs and find others who do. Realizing that they have failed in this area, and that the new person can't meet their needs, as well as the old one does, threatens the core of who they are. In reaction, they will do anything to fix the damage done to their fragile ego. This usually means lowering the value of the new supply, being more manipulative, or even trying to get back into your life by pretending to be someone else. For the narcissist, this time is often marked by a lot of mental instability. Once they discover that the new supply isn't enough to replace you, they might act in strange and unpredictable ways. You might see sudden fits of extreme anger or frustration, as well as desperate, pointless efforts to make peace with you. To play with your feelings, the narcissist might try to make you feel bad for moving on or being happy without them. They might even try to make you feel guilty by telling you that you owe them something, or that the breakup was your fault in some way. Even though they will be trying very hard to hold on to the new supply, they can't help but think of you when they do. The narcissist is constantly torn between their need for praise and their overwhelming fear of being rejected, which makes this comparison a psychological tug-of-war that they can't get out of. They want to keep the new supply on hand in case something goes wrong. But deep down, they also hope that the new person will somehow be like the person they had in mind when they left you in the first place. This can feel both powerful and unsettling to you at the same time. It gives you strength, because it shows the ego is not as strong as you thought. It's not nearly as likely that they can forget about you and move on than they want you to think. The narcissist is actually having a hard time because they can't substitute you. This shows that their control over you wasn't as easy as they thought. But this can also be very scary for the narcissist because as they face reality, they may try even harder to get back in control by manipulating others. Maybe they'll try even harder to make you feel less important by reminding you of things they miss about you, or using guilt to get you back into their scheme. They might try to persuade you that you were wrong, or that you should change your mind about moving on. These things are all part of the narcissist's plan to regain power and keep getting approval. This painful awareness comes from the narcissist's deep and often unconscious fear of being left alone. Narcissists often can't stand being alone, so they jump from one relationship to the next quickly, without giving themselves time to think about or heal from the last one. They act this way because they depend so much on other people for approval, recognition, and self-worth. They can't stand the thought of being alone, because they think that would mean losing the outside source of approval that they need so badly. A narcissist will go into a panic attack and lose their temper just thinking about not having someone to feed their ego. They may work hard to believe that the new supply gives them everything they need, but they know it's not true. No matter how hard the new person tries, they can't fully meet the narcissist's deep-seated need for approval and support. They're not you at all, and the narcissist knows this in some way. The narcissist's excessive fear of being left alone is often what pushes them to do terrible things. When the narcissist realizes that the new supply can't replace the emotional link they once had with you, they will use a variety of manipulative techniques to get back in charge. They might try to hoover you back into their circle by using charm, emotional manipulation, or even claims of change. If that doesn't work, they may start smear campaigns against you to try to make other people question your character or discredit you. The narcissist wants to show themselves that they are still powerful and important, and that they can get someone else to satisfy their emotional needs instead of you. They will keep trying to feel in control, even though they know deep down that it's not possible. Narcissists are always trying to get other people to do what they want, because they are afraid of being truly alone and not having anyone to validate their presence. The new supply may make the ego feel better for a while, but it will never be the same as you. Deep down, the narcissist knows this, which is why they act in such a strange and random way. They can't get enough of being admired, but they're even more afraid of being left alone. These feelings of fear can make the narcissist do many harmful things to themselves to avoid facing the truth that they have lost something important. For narcissists, who they are depends on how well they can control and manipulate others. If they lose that power, it can cause them a lot of stress and emotional problems. Narcissists will keep acting the way they do because they are afraid of being left alone. They might try to take back control of you, hurt the new source, or do other dishonest things to keep their fragile sense of self-worth. Now that you know that, it's important to remember that the narcissist's actions are driven by their deepest fears and doubts. They are not unbeatable, and the fact that they know they can't replace you shows how hard things are for them inside. It's important for you to set limits, keep your mind on healing, and understand that the narcissist's behavior doesn't show how valuable you are, but how limited their own mind is. Thanks for reading this in depth. Look into what narcissists think when they know that the new source can't replace you. This process is both interesting and scary because it shows how fragile the narcissist's ego really is. We can tell that deep down, they know they've lost something they can never get back, even if they try to tell themselves and others that they're fine without you. Don't forget to like, share, and follow if this video helped you. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Have you ever been through this with a narcissist? Tell me your stories. Remember that the narcissist may not say it, but their need for approval and fear of being left alone will always be there, just below the surface. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.